Hello, everybody.
Welcome to my house. We are streaming.
Yeah, that's not going to make any sense to them if they don't follow me on Twitter. But if they don't follow me on Twitter, they don't deserve to get the reference
Then
anyway,
they don't make any sense.
No, that's someone else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I interviewed Flo Rida at the Samsung Developer Conference.
What people in the chat got it? Oh no, that was Nick. He doesn't count. I also called Nick a bunch of people. Sorry.
Oh, wow. That's so what you're saying he doesn't count and you're going after his weight at the same time.
I'm sorry.
You're an awful, awful person. I mean, you weigh more than him. Although you have about like 5 inches on him, so.
Nick just in all capitals, I am multiple people.
I am me and all the people I ate. Sorry, what are we talking about?
Someone said Luke has his voice back. That was so confusing for a lot of people because we released a video that I filmed on the second day first.
Right.
And then other ones later. So everyone was like, what is even happening right
now? Always confusing. And it's like that happens when I let my hair get like really long and then buzz it really short. And then it's kind of just changing for a bit. I mean, we've had ones where my hair gets cut in the middle of a video.
Yeah.
Like a build guide once, actually.
That.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Yeah.
So confusing.
So we got a bunch of great topics for you guys today. No, not really. It's going to be kind of a...
We're probably going to lean on the events that we were at.
Yeah, it's going to be a little topic light, but we'll have fun because we haven't seen each other in over a week, I think, because we've just been like busy flying around to like amazing places like San Francisco and Boston.
Hey man.
I got to go to San Fran.
Boston's pretty cool.
I rode a bicycle in San Fran. I got lost on a bicycle.
I could have rode a bicycle in Boston.
You could have, except
one of the guys
Boston
that I was with
probably doesn't have like a bike share program.
No, I think they do. Wait, bike? What do you mean?
It's like car sharing, but like it's like bike racks with well, we don't have that in Vancouver.
No, I know.
It's just all American cities are just inherently.
It's super. I saw it too, and I was like, "That's pretty smart." And they're everywhere. It's great. One of the guys that I was with. Oh God, why? I was just in it. Why didn't you stop right when the WAN show started? One of the guys that I was hanging out with while I was there. Donut Bacon. I think Bacon Donut. Almost walked into Stephen Hawking.
No.
Like, was on his phone.
Oh, my.
And then...
I'd be mortified.
Stephen Hawking's, like, huge beast bodyguard was like, no. And stiff-armed him. And then he was like, what? And looks up, and then there's Stephen Hawking. Because they're in Boston, and, like, MIT and Harvard and stuff. So it makes sense. He was giving a lecture or something. Like, literally almost walked into him. And then proceeds to, after being stopped, takes a picture.
Did he even ask? Like, did he even ask to take a selfie with him?
I don't actually know. He probably did. I need my keys real quick. Sorry. I don't know, but yeah, I hope so.
Like, I'm embarrassed for how embarrassed you must have been for him, because that is awful.
I know. Yeah,
that is awful. Like, you don't bump into people. You don't bump into famous people.
This is why places
you don't bump into people in wheelchairs.
Yeah.
You don't bump into respected people. You don't
There's
look
so many
at your
layers on here.
There's so many layers of you don't do that to this.
And this is why people are trying to make looking at your phone while you're walking illegal.
Yeah.
Because people are going to walk into Stephen Hawking. Luckily, Stephen Hawking has an attentive and large, scary bodyguard.
Right.
So that worked out. Who was apparently quite nice, but just was like, yo.
You're actually not.
No, don't do that.
So Apple just announced its worst quarter in over a decade. Boo-hoo, 50 million iPhones sold. Intel is on board. The whole replacing the headphone jack with USB thing? Really, Intel? Really?
Womp, womp.
You usually do 2 topics.
Oh, for some reason I forgot that you already did 1. I thought that was your first one. Anyways, Blizzard has finally responded to fans about the closure of the Nostalrius servers, and people are both super stoked and like, what? it, but we'll get into why later on. SpaceX plans to send its Dragon spacecraft to Mars using the Falcon Heavy rocket, and that is sick. And yeah, let's put it.
You should call it like the. Are they planning to like enter the atmosphere with it, like punch through the atmosphere with it?
Wow, why did that take me so long? Oh, that was actually a wonderful thing. They should just Why is it? It's like dancing.
It's like dance party, yeah. Welcome to my show. Thank you for watching my show.
Lynda.com WAN show. Squarespace.com
you should go and watch the show.
Oh no.
All right.
What did you do? Screw it. Screw topics. What did you do?
What did I do? So I got up at 4 a.m.
Oh wow.
today. So
That's like when I go to bed.
I'm already very tired. Talking about tired makes tired more.
That's because you were thinking about it. Yeah.
So I was up at 4 in the morning. I got on a plane. I worked on the plane because I didn't want to waste all the preparation I had done to do work on the plane. And then I did a thing that, yes, I had someone in my family die, so I went there and I did that. Can I help you?
Okay, it's right on there. It's Dollar Shave Club, not Linda. I must have messed up.
Oh, okay. Nick was in space, and anyway, so then I this place and WAN show.
Yeah.
But before that, the question you were actually asking was,
Yes.
I spent the week at the Samsung Developer Conference. So it all kind of kicked off with a big keynote. They announced retail availability coming in a couple days, which it has now been. So now, as of about 12 hours ago, of the Gear 360, their new 360-degree VR-optimized camera. They announced some stuff that actually didn't make it into my videos from the show, but is really cool.
If you want to see, not to give someone a shout out who like super doesn't ever need shout outs, but if you want to see some actually pretty good representative Gear 360 footage, check out Casey Neistat's Oscar coverage. He has stuff where he's like, he walks down the red carpet with it, and then he has like watching Leo win an Oscar from the stands with it, and you can spin the camera around and everything and kind of see how footage from that would look and sound, which is actually something that I was wondering
So
about.
he has the Gear 360?
He was the first person to get one, and he got one like way before anybody.
Right. So yeah, Gear 360, it's finally available for purchase. I was hands-on with it. It's pretty cool. It's not entirely seamless. We did manage to crash the demo because we're me.
Why is that surprising?
So of course I managed to break the demo.
Yes,
So basically, the way it works is it records to the camera itself. The live Wi-Fi direct feed is actually really, really good. Like it's pretty low latency. It's one of those things where like, yeah, it's not perfect, but there's pretty much no excuse for not having gotten the shot. So you use your phone as a live feed and you can like look around, and then you actually press record on either device. It records to the camera, and then on your phone with an app, you've actually got a like a browser that you can go through, and you can kind of go, okay, I want this, I want this, I want this. It converts, it transfers over, and from there you can either view it just kind of normally, or you can view it with the phone using the motion sensors, or you can view it with the Samsung Gear VR.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different ways to consume it. It's very, very cool, actually.
You know what would be cool? If they, like, probably not this version, but if they released, like, a ruggedized, more industrial kind of version, what would be pretty cool would just, like, from knowing my brother, who's a firefighter, it'd be pretty sweet if they could have them on, like, the top of their helmets.
Right.
And their chief outside could switch between person.
Right.
And see what they're seeing.
That would actually
So one of them
be
could
really
radio
cool.
back and be like, Chief, we've got an obstruction or something, and then he can, like, see it.
So it'd be almost like video game style, pretty much,
Yeah.
right?
So he's now like the RTS like master managing his little like firefighter minions.
Exactly.
That'd be awesome. You have like axe firefighter and hose firefighter. You have to like manage positioning them.
Okay, I think you're taking it a little far, but
Quite a few years ago, I was trying to develop a firefighting video game.
sure, something along those lines.
I'm not even kidding. I was. Anyways, and then I was like, "Wow, I'm bad at programming. I should not do this."
Fuck.
Ooh.
So other than the Gear 360, I mean, the developer conference was really geared
Oh shoot!
more
was
towards
fantastic.
developers. So there was a lot of stuff like around their new Arctic hardware, as well as the
Arctic hardware?
Arctic, ARTIK.
hardware.
Yeah, Arctic.
a cool name.
So it goes from the Arctic 1 is this more Arduino type thing, and the Arctic 10 is like capable of machine learning. It's got like this gigantic developer board. It's like this big. Got a bunch of like wireless modules and like all kinds of like much more functionality. And people were building things that could interact with their cloud service that sits behind Arctic from other clouds, and then they were putting Arctic hardware in devices and interacting with these other clouds. So they had like everything from a water purifier to smart home stuff to you know that Jibo stupid thing that I backed on Indiegogo. They had something actually that looks functionally very similar to what the Jibo team is promising to deliver at some point, just as kind of a tech demo.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Jibo, who's George Clooney?
Yeah.
And Jibo's like, a dude who hacks and things. Or sorry, not Jibo. I forget what they call it, but I ended up doing a video about that one.
Yeah.
Probably the highlight of the trip, though, for me was that I got to meet real celebrities, like not like fakeo YouTube celebrities, like, you know, people who, you know, perform musical concerts. So I interviewed Flo Rida, who's coming out with a mobile game.
Welcome to my game.
Yeah.
It should. Oh my god. I really hope that's how it loads.
I really sincerely doubt that is how it will load, because that actually wouldn't really make any sense.
Welcome to my game. Why not go racing? I'm done now. There's no more.
That's probably for the best.
Song ends there.
So anyway, anyway.
I'm sorry. So what is the game about? What do you do?
Well, okay, so I did ask him what's unique about it, and he basically said, well, fast cars. I'm like, okay, like
Sure.
the flyest cars. Okay. So we've got that down.
The flowiest cars?
No, flyest.
Okay.
Yeah, flyest.
Right.
It's like
Good
fly.
clarification.
Like they're
Yeah.
fly.
Oh.
And then the other thing is like he's in it, so like his music is involved in the soundtrack.
Okay.
Other than that, details are very scarce. So I do know that he spent some time actually on a track, and then spent some time like
I'm sure he needed to do that.
with the controls. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think he was even
development
I don't think he was
purposes.
pretending he needed to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's a thing that happened. I think that basically he wanted to and did
Okay.
it because he's Flo Rida.
Yes.
So,
All right.
yeah. So
That's fair.
He spent some time with the controls, like making sure that they got everything right. He actually says he spent a lot of time like making sure they had the feel of the game exactly the way he wanted it. So, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I'm genuinely gonna try it. Like,
Sure.
It's called Speed Gods. The title is all caps, bold, and italicized. And that, like, I double checked to make sure that it wasn't just
That
like
just like defines the game.
yeah, I checked to make sure that it wasn't like just a logo, and it's not. Like when they write it just in text about, you know, a press release or whatever, it is italicized, bolded, and all caps.
Wonderful.
So that really gets the
Speed
point across, I
gods.
think. So then Tommy Thayer, guitarist for Kiss, of
Yeah.
all things, he's releasing a children's storytelling app that he wrote all the music for, but not Kiss music.
Hopefully.
Yeah. No. So I was talking to him about it. He was like, yeah, this was like a really different creative challenge for me.
That's
We're,
cool.
we're planning to add, it's kind of like semi-animated
Okay.
storybook.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
it's got, he calls them ditties. So he wrote little ditties
Oh,
to go
yeah,
along with
okay,
the
yeah,
story.
yeah.
That he's like, yeah, no, it was
That could be kind of cool, actually.
that one I will check out as well. That one's coming
That
out in the
doesn't sound
summer.
like a mirror of every single other game in its genre.
Yeah, but I mean, with that said, you can't say like, oh, this racing game won't be good because there are other racing
No,
games.
it could be.
It could be good.
I just I know I have a few different friends that are in like mobile game development, and like out of the few different, they all work at different studios. Well, okay, 2 of them work at the same one, but whatever. Out of those ones, almost all of them have worked on a racing game for a mobile platform.
Right.
There's just a lot of them.
Yeah.
So many of them suck. One of them was good.
That's the problem, is like I tend to dismiss the entire genre. Like I
Yeah.
have the same sort of
Yeah.
initial reaction as you. Oh, it'll probably be terrible. And from a purely numbers perspective, it will probably be terrible.
Yeah.
But maybe it won't.
If not, that's cool.
If
I
not,
like
that's
the
cool.
idea. And again, one of them was okay. It was just far too pay to win.
They had some other really cool demos. They had a roller coaster with like a 4D roller coaster with like moving seats and stuff with Gear VR, which, man, it's one of those things where I'm like, I know I'm at the Samsung Developer Conference, so I know we really have to wear Gear VRs for this.
But like,
But boy, do I ever wish I
dude.
was wearing an Oculus or a Vive.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause
when we hear about like that roller coaster that just installed Gear VRs, I'm just like, damn it, guys! Like, use something else.
But it's
a
not
seated
that
experience.
simple.
Use whatever else.
There's so much like there's so much of a greater hardware requirement for
I
the other ones. Like there's so
know.
much more investment. Whereas like Gear VR is you just throw a bunch of phones in a bunch of like probably Samsung gave them a pretty good deal to implement that because of all the press around something like that.
Yeah.
So it just kind of is what it is in the cases of something like that. Anyway, the demo was cool because I've never actually done like a roller coaster demo with a moving chair. It's amazing how close you can get to like a 0G feel just with a moving chair. Science, man. Scientists are cool.
Some of the yeah.
And then the last demo, but the latency and the resolution are just
The resolution on those is a little rough.
yeah. The
Considering
latency is a
even with
bummer.
the Vive and the Oculus, like
The resolution's a little
you
rough.
can see it sometimes. Like
Yeah.
it's
And
improvement will be good, but they're pretty good. And then
like,
you jump down to a gear.
the graphics are pretty rough too. Like playing. Have you played Space Pirate Trainer?
No,
Oh,
I didn't get to play that
you
one.
have to play it.
Yeah,
It's
I
awesome.
saw it
Sign
on
into
there.
my account.
I saw right. I probably
Yeah.
will. I saw it on there.
Yeah,
I just
check it out.
decided that I was going to spend most of my time in raw data because I knew that you hadn't.
Right.
So I thought we could combine
Sure.
experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, Space Pirate Trainer is a total freaking blast. But like, the graphics are not that great, and there's like a good and a better slider right now, and the better slider, which doesn't look very good, is apparently like 980 and up optimized. Oh man. Oh,
Oh,
please
dear.
no.
Yeah.
Last cool demo that I did was, and these guys, I asked them what their company did, and they're like, yeah, so our company sets up like experiential demos for brands. And I was tempted to ask them, I didn't end up doing it. I kind of wish that I had. I was tempted to ask them, so did Samsung pay you to be here? Or did you volunteer to be here / pay for a booth here in order to meet developers? I'm actually not sure who's winning in this situation. Their demo was really cool. So they had this escape room style thing.
Okay.
And then they were using each of the 8 cameras above the very small room, like less than the total range of an HTC Vive with the 2 lighthouses.
Oh wow. Okay.
Each of those 8 cameras is worth 3,500 smackaroonies.
I thought you were gonna say. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then they had like these objects, like pieces of the puzzle, very very like Tomb Raider, very like Uncharted, like
Yeah.
style
Yeah,
puzzles,
I gotcha.
where you move statues around and do this stuff. The graphics running off of the Gear VR on an S7, by far the most impressive demo I saw there. Because there was another VR game, like a tech demo game that I saw where you like blast bad guys or something.
A lot of the problems, like you haven't
Kinda
played
janky.
the Crisis rock climbing game yet.
No, I haven't.
Like there are VR demos that have very good graphics. The problem is the vast majority of people making VR I'm even going to keep saying demos because they're basically all just demos. Even the games, like, are all tech dudes trying to get like feasibility across. Like, look, this is what we're able to make. Not necessarily like, oh, it's so beautiful.
Right.
So that will be nice.
So the graphics were really impressive. Latency was as good as you can possibly expect because it was running on a Gear VR, but it was believable enough with like magnets on some of the objects to kind of get them to click into place like it would in a game.
Right.
And they had just those little IR reflective dots on the objects so that the cameras would know what was what. That you could like solve like a color matching and like move the object to here, align the light beam, take the golden idol, and then the door opens and you run for it. And apparently it was believable enough. They actually have had people slam into the wall, forgetting that the door opening in VR is not an open
a door opening.
Is this a potential liability issue
Oh yeah.
for VR companies?
Yeah, but that's part of the reason why, like, okay, on my video that I made comparing like the Vive and the Oculus Rift before they were released, but with final specs for release,
Yeah.
that like current state of VR video thing, I talked about how amazing the chaperone system is, and a whole bunch of people were like, oh, it's like not gonna be that great because like games aren't gonna put it into their game because why would they do that and stuff. Like, they don't put it into the game. Like, you
Yeah.
walk up to the wall and there's a blue thing. Like, it's a warning system. They're not going to just like block it anyways. And that's super helpful because lo and behold, in the setup that I have over there, almost walked into a pallet
Yep.
and was like, oh, well, I'm super glad I didn't walk into the pallet. And Rift is going to be getting a room scale-ish experience once the touch controllers come out.
Right.
Because it's going to have a second camera. It won't be anywhere near as wide as the Vive is right now, but you'll be able to stand up and move around a little bit, so it's room scale to a certain degree. And that's going to be a little scary. There's no pass-through camera because with the Vive you can double tap the thing and
Yes.
see the pass-through
Which
camera.
is extremely disorienting,
Yeah, it's true.
but somewhat functional.
But helpful. And like if your phone's going off or something, you can double tap it and check your phone without taking the camera off, or the headset off and sitting on the top of your head and getting grease on the lenses.
Oh, right.
So it's actually really nice.
Right.
You want to not take the headset off once it's on until you're done,
Right.
to be completely honest. You don't want to like rest it on top of your head like a lot of people
Did
do.
I send it to you with grease on the lenses?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Because I tried to be pretty careful to not.
No, but
touch
like
it.
I was doing demos for everybody, so between them I was cleaning them and stuff, because people would be like, that was really cool, and I'd be like, shit. Time to clean everything again. Yeah.
Wah,
I don't
wah.
know. But where was I going with this? Crap.
Safety.
Yeah, no, yeah. So the Rift doesn't have that, which kind of sucks a lot. I'm gonna start divulging into Rift versus Vive real quick. So we
Oh,
should probably
okay.
just
Yeah.
move
Well,
on.
we do have more topics.
Yes. Yeah.
Time Warner Cable has been purchased by Charter
70
Communications.
$78 billion.
78 billion. I mean, is that?
Wow.
Are those even real numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, does this even mean anything to anyone? It's official. Uncle Sam says Charter can buy Time Warner Cable. They just approved the $78 billion deal today.
Who's Charter?
I have to confess, as someone who is not American and doesn't pay that much attention to huge American mega corporations, I'm actually not sure what all of the companies that the mega corporation that is Charter probably owns. So, in a nutshell, the U.S. Department of Justice approved, and FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler spoke in favor of the deal on Monday. It does still need to be approved by the FCC itself. Tom Wheeler supports it, but the FCC has not given official approval. There are caveats to the deal. Charter is not allowed to impede access to streaming content, is not allowed to impose data caps or charge usage-based prices, and is not allowed to charge interconnection fees. Wheeler says that all 3 7-year conditions will help consumers by benefiting online video provider competition. It is unclear, though, what he means by 7-year conditions, whether that means that they can impose data caps and impede access after 7 years is up or what.
Yeah.
This apparently also covers Charter's purchase of Bright House Networks, a cable provider that has most of its market share in Florida, for $10.4 billion.
Spectrum or Charter Spectrum just seems to be like an ISP. They have internet, they have phone, they have cable TV, these packages. I've never heard of these guys. How are they so big that they're buying Time Warner, who I've definitely heard of multiple times? Are they not as big of jerks as the other companies? That would be a good thing.
Yeah, it looks like the usual sort of.
It seems
telco
super
thing.
normal. Yeah.
So like TV, internet, voice, and mobile or something. Huh? Okay.
I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, good for them, I suppose. Hope this works out for everyone else involved. Comcast, speaking of American companies buying expensive things, bought out Dreamworks for $3.8 billion. So their NBC Universal division is actually acquiring the Dreamworks animation studio for about $3.8 billion. I mean, it's all just, rounding at that point. It's funny how $10 million could literally just be like an inconsequential rounding error.
Yeah.
With a deal this big.
Oh, hold up for a second. Okay, listen to this. Charter Communications is an American cable telecommunications company which offers their services to consumers and businesses under the branding of Charter Spectrum, which is exactly what we just found.
Yeah.
Providing services to 5.9 million customers in 29 states. It is the 4th largest cable operator in the United States by subscribers, behind Comcast, Time Warner Cable, and Cox Communications. Why were they able to buy Time Warner?
I don't know.
Why didn't Time Warner buy them?
Great question. And if Colton had put more detail in the doc that I didn't look at because I was at a conference and at a funeral, then we would know. Okay. But it's a good question.
Yeah.
I like the way you think.
Thanks.
So
I don't know. That seems so weird. Anyways, sorry.
I am actually surprised that something like Dreamworks costs as little
as $3.8 billion.
$4 billion. Yeah, because looking at
it, like I hear you.
I mean, we're talking How to Train Your Dragon franchise, Shrek franchise. I'm assuming that they're owning the IP behind these particular works. I mean, How to Train Your Dragon has a Netflix series that is going right now as a continuation of the movies.
What has DreamWorks done recently?
Wow. I'm glad you asked. DreamWorks is one of the
I'm asking so many annoying questions.
Why do they not have the sex appeal of Pixar? Okay, so for one thing, they haven't been quite as consistent in terms of the what they've delivered. Like certain stuff has been great. Shrek, great. How to Train Your Dragon, great. The Croods, wow, really well received. I thought it was awful.
Never even heard
Kung
of
Fu Panda, though, is DreamWorks. But this is interesting. I mean, I guess I'm sort of overestimating how much these are worth potentially. I mean, its feature films have grossed $13.85 billion worldwide. This is just according to the Wikipedia article, so take it with the grain of Wikipedia salt. And it's unclear whether or not that includes licensed products, for example. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I would have thought that it would be worth more than that. Madagascar is also DreamWorks.
The reason why I said that was because How to Train Your Dragon is the last thing that I can think of from them that was super awesome, and the first one of that is a little old now.
Yeah,
even the most recent one is not that recent.
Did you watch the Penguins of Madagascar movie?
No.
Again, that's not that new either. But it's hard for us to know sort of what they have in the pipeline right now. Like it's if they have we've got like a bunch of like crazy awesome projects going, like look at all this awesome stuff that we got going.
I just feel like it's been a while, and I love little old animated movies, so like I see a lot of these things. Like I'm a grown dude and Frozen was great. But like it's been a while since I've gone to something and it's been like Dreamworks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And on that note, why don't we get into our sponsors for today?
Yep.
First up is Massdrop. So the product we're highlighting today is the Massdrop X Hi-Fi Man RE00 IEMs. This is a reboot of the RE0 that brought quite a bit of fame to the Hi-Fi Man name in the earphone space. They boast a comfortable fit and standard-setting sound clarity. The RE00s feature a revised cable for better durability and improved microphonics, so that is the annoying noise when something bumps the cable. They feature a 9mm dynamic driver, 64 ohm impedance, and a 53-inch cable. And the main change, too, on the reboot, aside from all that other stuff I just said, is the price. It's only $35 shipped to your door if you're in the U.S. International orders will be charged $5 at checkout for freight. Over 1,400 units have been sold already at the drop page, which you can find at drawdops/WAN-RE-00. Which we will obviously have linked in the video description so that you guys can actually find it. If you're not familiar with Massdrop, they offer all kinds of deals like this, whether it's on knives or keyboards or audio products, say for example, camping gear even. And the idea is they find manufacturers who are willing to commit to a lower price if Massdrop can find a lot of people to buy. So the more people buy, the lower the price goes, and everyone basically wins. Speaking of everyone basically winning, if you feel like it's a win, if you pay less for your shaving supplies and don't have to go out and buy them, then you might want to try Dollar Shave Club. DollarShaveClub.com delivers high-quality razors and other bathroom supplies directly to your door for just a few bucks a month. They got everything from their basic razor all the way up to the 6-blade executive. They've got their Dr. Carver's shave butter. They got their aftershave. And, of course, the ever-popular. I've seen many people using them.
And I have a story, actually, that I need to tell here. So
One Wipe Charlie's.
When I was at PAX East,
Peppermint scented.
I really wish I had at least one of these.
Butt wipes for men. Available in travel size.
Which would have been great. So what happened was we were on the floor all day. It's a long day. We got there early. We stayed for the entire event, stayed for a little bit after the event because exhibitor badges, yes. And then went for dinner afterwards. Once we get to the restaurant, I'm like, I get my one washroom break for the whole day. Go to the washroom. The stall I'm in doesn't have toilet paper. The only other stall in the bathroom does not have toilet paper.
Oh.
There is no paper towel in the dispenser thing. It's completely gone, and no one has told anyone in the restaurant.
Oh, that is
that
very
there wasn't
unfortunate.
any. I'm going to stop details there, but it was a disaster. And if I had a One Wipe Charlie, everything would be fine. I posted a picture of like the toilet paper roll being empty, and like immediately their comments were like, "Why didn't you have a One Wipe Charlie?" And I was like, "Damn it!"
Sounds like a shitty situation. So head over to dollarshaveclub.com/Linus and give them a try to avoid your own personal shitty situation.
No.
You know,
If you don't want your website to be a shitty situation,
You
could have get Squarespace.
yeah.
Which is simple, powerful, and beautiful. And if you have any problems,
Yeah. Problems. You should.
use the 24/7 support via live chat and email, which you... Sorry.
Oh no, this role reversal
It's so bad.
It's fun and exciting. But also quite difficult.
It is.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in faster. Okay, you
go.
should.
Only spend $8 a month for your website, which...
You should.
Buy for a year, because then you get a domain for free. If you need to sell anything on your website,
You should.
use the commerce module. And if you're looking to like get a job or something like that,
You should.
use the cover page module, because that makes it all fancy and go on one page.
Beautiful one-page presence.
So
You should.
start a free trial today with no credit card required. And if you do decide to sign up for Squarespace,
You should.
use Linus as your offer code to save 10% off your first purchase. Squarespace.
Build it beautiful. You should.
Build it beautiful.
You should build it beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll get this right at some point.
It worked out once we started rolling. Yeah.
Hackers stole $80 million from a central bank because it had $10 switches and no firewall.
God.
So the original article here is from UK Business Insider. And
Insane.
basically...
The OP of this, his name is Paranoid Wallet.
Paranoid Wallet.
That's amazing.
I love that.
That's
great.
the best lineup of like OP name and article that I think I've like ever seen. That's awesome.
So Bangladesh's central bank was vulnerable to hackers because it did not have a firewall. It used second-hand $10 switches to network computers connected to the SWIFT global payment network. Wow. These shortcomings made it easier for hackers to break into the system earlier this year. So the head of the Forensic Training Institute said it could be difficult to hack if there was a firewall. The lack of sophisticated switches, and get this makes it even worse. The lack of sophisticated switches means that it is now, after the fact, very difficult for investigators to figure out what the hackers did.
Probably more or less impossible.
And where they might have been based. Because if you don't have detailed data logging, and I mean, based on that, they broke in earlier this year. It's not like they broke in yesterday. They just transferred a bunch of money, and like now they have broken the connection. Okay, let's check the logs from yesterday.
Not great. So SWIFT is the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. So that's, yeah. Apparently part of the blame is falling on them as well. I don't really know why, but I'm assuming that part of the blame is falling on them because if you're going to allow something like the Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication to go somewhere, you should probably make sure that that place is secured at all.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's why the blame is partially going.
Where how do you oversee that?
But how many I feel like you could, to be completely honest. Like every single gas pump has a checkup every once in a while,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. Yeah.
Like they should at least have like someone go by every once in a while.
Hey, how's the server room going?
Yeah.
Is everything on fire?
What do you got set up? Do
Like,
you mind giving us like an inventory of what you're
Did you
running?
literally buy everything on eBay yesterday?
For $10,
Fair enough.
and is it used? Yeah. I don't know. Some amount of at least oversight at all.
I mean, on the same.
They have more than 2,000 employees at Swift.
Speaking of oversight,
Send one of them.
the German nuclear plant infected with computer viruses, says an operator. Apparently, this is just like really
Fuel
old
rod software.
really old malware. Wow, can we get some good news for this week?
Things that shouldn't be connected to the internet.
So this is 75 miles away from Munich, and it's been harboring malware. It didn't pose a threat, though, apparently, because the computer was not hooked up to the internet.
Wow, these are names I haven't heard of before. Apparently the viruses included W32.remnant and Conflicker. I thought it was Conflicker.
So it was in a computer that was retrofitted in 2008 with data visualization software associated with equipment for moving nuclear fuel rods. The malware was also found on 18 removable data drives, mainly USB sticks in the office, and RWE says it had increased cybersecurity measures as a result. Excellent. Okay, we have good news. Google has patented, sort of good news. Okay, well, Google has patented, which hopefully means that we're closer to it happening. But Google has patented smart lenses that you inject into your eyes.
So we covered like this in I think 2014, and I don't actually think the idea or the concept has really changed, but now it has been patented, meaning that hopefully someone's going to do something with it.
Yeah, and hopefully if they don't, they are not buttheads about it.
Yeah, like the people that stopped mineral oil computers to be sold from Puget.
Yeah, like them.
Like those
So the
jerk
device is meant to replace your eye's natural lens. It is injected in a solution that congeals and attaches to your lens capsule and is mostly meant to correct poor vision. It contains a number of tiny components: storage, sensors, radio battery, and an electronic lens. And the eyeball device gets power wirelessly from an energy harvesting antenna. The patent describes what would look like an external device to interface with the eyeball computer, and the tool will communicate through a radio, and the interface device contains the actual processor to do the necessary computing.
Considering it replaces your current lens, what happens if it runs out of battery?
That's a great question.
And like in the future, are EMPs just going to make everyone blind?
So these lenses are now a part of Verily, a division under Alphabet.
Okay.
You know what? You are just the difficult question person today.
Yep. I don't know. I'm just being a jerk.
Are you just going through the topics and kind of going, yep, I'm not going to say anything when this comes up until the end, and then I'm going to
just drop a bomb that's unanswerable, and then we can just move on?
Thank you for that.
Apple just announced its worst quarter in over a decade, mostly due to sinking iPhone sales, which is not surprising because you have to make something better in order to sell more of them.
Success is better than the 6.
I know, but like by how much?
It has 3D touch,
Okay.
which is touch, but in 3D.
Last time Apple sales fell year over year was the first quarter of 2003.
That is fantastic.
13 years ago. Currently, more than 2/3 of Apple's revenue is made up of iPhone sales, which is pretty intense. The iPhone in Q1 of 2015 sold 61.2 million. In Q1 of 2016 was 51.2 million, also known as down by 16%. iPad is down by 19%, and Mac is down by 12%. So everything is down by double digits.
Excellent.
Just, yeah, and like iPad especially. So screw everyone that was like, tablets are going to take over computers. No. Go away.
Yeah, I mean, with that said, Intel is sort of not super bullish on the PC either.
No.
Part of the issue may just be that hardware in both categories is getting to the point where it mostly does what most people want it. I can't think of anything I have wanted to do on a tablet that I can't do on an iPad 2. Mm-hmm. Especially because the iPad 2 still is getting software updates. Mm-hmm. I mean, sure. It doesn't have the same responsiveness when I auto-rotate
And it
that
won't
it once
be
did.
nice and thin and like all that kind
And
of
it's
stuff.
not thin, and the battery life isn't as good as it used to be. But, like, I'm firing up the Netflix because that's what it turns out we actually do on tablets. I mean, I actually had, you've met him, my old boss. So I remember him explaining to me that, oh, I do all of my work on the iPad now. Like after he left and he did the whole like startup thing, like he wanted to do a startup, and he was showing me like a presentation, and he pulled out an iPad, and I was like, you don't like have a computer? Because we worked together at a computer store, you know. He's like, oh no, I do all my work on this now, and I'm like, okay, we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah.
This long. This is how long it lasted before everyone remembered that keyboards exist for a reason and that they're really, really, really good
Yes.
at things like
Being a keyboard.
which
Yeah.
iPads
Screens
are not
aren't
really
very
at.
good at being a keyboard.
I especially find, like, I am getting to the point where people don't realize I'm on my phone on Hangouts. Like,
Yeah.
they don't actually know
I
unless
can trick people sometimes.
they check.
Yeah.
Especially with SwiftKey.
I liked the comment during Scrapyard Wars.
Which
You type really fast or whatever. I don't remember exactly how he said it, but Bob was just commenting on you typing really fast on your phone.
Yeah, but part of it is a well-trained SwiftKey. You have to commit. Like, you have to commit to it because it really does learn over time. A well-trained SwiftKey can compensate for astonishing errors. So
true.
between that and having gotten better at it, I can type pretty fast on a phone, but there is nothing you can do to type quickly on a tablet.
They're just so far apart.
Yeah, and like, yes, there are split keyboards and
It
stuff,
doesn't-
but the tablet is so heavy, it's very fatiguing. And if you have it in your lap, you have a device that's named after sitting in your lap. It has a keyboard on it.
Anyways.
Technically,
pretty bad.
it's not named after sitting in your lap. It's named after being on top of your lap.
Yes.
So that was originally posted by Phoenix Arising on the forum. I really don't know what Apple's response to this is going to be. This is really, I mean, I sort of covered this in my iPhone SE review,
They should make VR stuff.
where I talked a fair bit. Well, they don't even believe in touchframes on laptops yet. Are we really going to convince them that, you know, a headset that plugs
just,
into
like,
the computer?
yeah,
I mean, they've been selling computers with frankly underpowered graphics for years.
Yeah. My only reason for saying that right now is that, like, while it's my review's coming soon, but while it's not like really ready yet, that's what's going to be hard to do in the future. Like,
Right.
for computers for a little while, word processing was hard to do. That was literally a thing. And then now, like, we're getting further and further and further, and now, like, things just aren't hard to do. So why upgrade your computer? honestly, even gaming's just not that hard to do these days.
Yep.
Because no one's like really pushing the envelope.
Well, that and there's the 10-year console development cycle that it looks like we're breaking here.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Looks like we're breaking with the PS4K or PSVR or whatever they end up. No, I think the actual headset might be called PSVR. So PlayStation 4.5 or whatever.
But VR is very hard to do. You need lots of them frames, and you need them really quickly. So yeah,
And
if
really
they do that, then hardware gets pushed.
It
and
feels
people
like
need to buy things
such an
faster.
oversight that they didn't. All right, you know what? I guess it's still very early days. There's plenty of
Oh,
time
it's
for them
super
to.
early days.
There's plenty of time for them to come in and FaceTime.
Oh yeah.
You know, the VR industry, I guess.
There's probably years before it's no longer early days. Like, just to be honest.
So
I like it.
I mean, Apple Watch, I don't think they've released any actual sales figures on Apple Watch in a while, but my take on that is that's got to have been an unmitigated disaster. Like anyone I explain it to, where I'm like, yeah, the screen's off unless you go like this, they're like, oh, that's stupid. Like if they're not technology people, they're just like, oh, why would they do that?
I've been enjoying this thing.
What is that?
It's a Fitbit,
Oh, yeah.
the new one. It has a analog style clock. I can read it. I just don't even bother. I don't wear it to check the time. I wear it for my heart rate. It's usually on this screen where I can see heart rate.
Right.
That's what I wear it for. Like I was doing, not to talk about VR again, but I was doing the raw data demos, and it's a movable combat simulator, right? So
Right.
people like Burkle get really into it.
Right.
And he can't see me, but I'm trying to manage the cable for him. So it's literally like I'm basically sparring with Burkle, because he's like going to reload and then shoving his gun back out. It's like, whoa, oh my God. And like I'm jumping around him trying not to get hit.
That's awesome.
And I'm running at like 130 BPM.
Right.
But it was cool to be able to like, while I'm managing the cable, like, oh, cool. All right, that's where that's going. I don't need to check the time all the time.
So yeah, Luke's working finally. It's one of those categories that we just really haven't touched actually, is fitness trackers, and Luke's working on kind of a fitness tracker accuracy showdown type of thing for when we go to Mexico, which is not next week but the week after. Can you believe it?
So I'm trying to figure out, and if you guys have opinions on this, let me know, because the internet seems to not have a ton of data on it. But the best like chest strap heart rate sensor to use as a like good data comparison.
Yeah, drop that in the comments.
That
'cause
would be super helpful.
That would be very, very helpful.
Looking at a Polaris one and like a couple other ones, but then like you need special watches that aren't the fitness trackers that anyone's buying in order to use them and stuff.
Right.
So, what? If you know things about that, that would be super helpful.
But yeah, so I covered a lot of this in my iPhone SE review, where I kind of went, Apple is not defining categories right now at all. They've tried. They tried to kind of reinvent the iPad as a device with a pencil. I mean, stylus. I mean, something
Whatever
Jobs said they
thing.
would never do. They tried to do a watch, and it turned out that their vision for the watch, which isn't necessarily the wrong vision, but isn't ready yet. The hardware's just not there yet. They've seemed to have just completely abandoned the Mac. I actually screwed something up in my MSI Vortex review, where I said the Mac Pro could have up to 18 cores. I didn't even conceive of Apple not having updated that for now the current generation, the previous one, 3 generations of Intel processors. It only goes up to 12 core because it is LGA 2011, not LGA 2011-3. I didn't even bother looking it up because I haven't paid attention to the Mac Pro since it launched, but they're just not even trying at all. And then it's just kind of like, oh yeah, well, I guess your revenue's down. They're still trying on iPhone. And we'll see what the SE does to this number, because it really is a solid upgrade device for people who are running iPhone 5s. And they will have to upgrade when the all 64-bit App Store drops.
That'll be interesting. Anyways, Nintendo NX to launch in March of 2017, and some people are a little salty because the Zelda game, which looks amazing and has looked amazing since, what, 2014 or something when we first started seeing screenshots of it, and was supposed to release in, I believe, 2015, I think, is not launching this year and will be launching in 2017, probably with the NX, and will work on the NX, and will also work on the Wii U, meaning if it's like probably what I'm expecting it's going to be like, you'll get an awesome experience on the NX, and you'll get a hopefully good but not as awesome experience.
So you'll get the
Wii U.
Twilight Princess on the GameCube experience, which actually is kind of a funny thing to bring up, because while the graphics were much worse on the GameCube for Twilight Princess, many people argued that the GameCube's controller was a lot better than the go like this to make Link slash controls on the Wii.
That's pretty bad.
You can plug a GameCube controller into Wii. I actually played the entire game with the Wiimote though.
Wow.
But what I can tell you is that what happens eventually is you're chilling on the couch. Hold on, let me just go back a little bit so I can sort of simulate sort of leaning back on the couch here. So you're kind of like chilling on the couch like this, and then the Wiimote's kind of in your hand, and you're just like...
Well, there's like, okay, I'm going to get a little crude here for a moment, but this is actually like years ago, not for a long time. I don't know if you can still find the video, but someone made a video about how you can beat every game on Wii. So this is like not even Wii U days, this is a very old YouTube video. But you can beat every game on Wii by doing like a male masturbation motion. You just take the Wii stick and you just win everything.
Really?
And like he had a montage video beating like a whole bunch of games. Okay, it wasn't like, yeah, probably not.
And
but
like,
do you play Smash like that? Isn't it a sideways control game? I don't think you play
you're
Smash
right.
through
Yeah,
movement.
no, there's no motion control.
So like movement games.
Okay, movement games.
And like he showed a montage of a lot of games and him beating it that way, and it was pretty funny. What?
Was that even intentional?
What?
A montage of games and him beating it that way?
Oh god. That was not intentional.
It was great. So that was posted by Sinster on the forum. Next one. This was posted by Alex P 10v2. Original article here is from The Verge. Apparently, Intel is gonna get behind this whole no headphone jack thing. We're gonna do audio over USB Type-C. What the crap, guys?
I don't get it unless they want to have two of them. That's what bugs me a bit. Because like there's huge points in time where I would want to have headphones plugged in and a charger. And I don't think battery bank companies are going to start adding like headphone jacks to their battery banks.
No, and I have a lot of other concerns here too. Like, for example, in theory, this is great because USB Type-C has amazing data rates, power delivery up to 100 watts or 95 watts or whatever it is. It's,
power things much better.
Yeah,
you could even get things like thermal temperatures out of it and stuff.
Yep. Cool. You could do microphones. You could do microphones much more universally. For example, so you could actually have your headphone have software in it so that it would work properly with volume control, track skipping on Apple or on Android, and you could do way more than just that. Like you could have like sick lights on your in-ears. Like there's a lot of cool stuff to be said.
Not saying it isn't cool.
Yeah, about USB audio. However, the issue is that unless it's implemented well, it's going to be a real drag because, and to be clear, I don't know exactly what the plan is here. If we can utilize the Type-C port to just pass through a signal from a DAC and amp in the device or an external device for people who want like a high-end amp and DAC to the headphones or the in-ears passively, then great. But if we are relying then on the headphones to have their own amplifier and digital to analog converter, we are either dramatically increasing the cost of anything decent, or
pretty expensive.
Yeah, or we are ending up with possibly, and on the DAC side, I'm not necessarily sold on needing a super fancy DAC. It's been demonstrated pretty conclusively by Tom's Hardware that like even a super basic onboard sound computer DAC with the decent amplification is as good as pretty much anything. But I'm not that sold on the DAC side. But on the amp side of things, we're probably going to end up with amps that are not that great. And we're also going to end up buying a new DAC and amp every time we buy a new pair of headphones. It just adds cost in a way and complexity in a way that I don't
You think they're trying to
makes
do
a
it
ton of sense.
for thickness?
I don't know. I
Because
can't.
headphone jack has been something they've been complaining about in terms of thickness. Which makes me super sad, because if they're doing all this for thickness, like, wow, you're going the wrong direction.
I mean, I have other issues with the headphone jack. It's also not particularly robust, but it's so compatible. Like, it can be adapted to the 1/4-inch jack. It can be used on anything from, like, an AV receiver from 20 years ago
To your
all the way
car.
up to the latest iPhone to
That
your
aux input.
to your car with an auxiliary input. Like, it's just as long as, and like I don't even want to say like a USB Type-C to 3.5mm adapter is good enough, but if it goes ubiquitous, like if by the time my kid has a phone, there's a Type-C jack on literally everything that handles these duties that can also work with outboard amps and DACs, and the entire ecosystem like catches up / overtakes the older analog solution, then maybe. But I'm gonna have a hard time saying goodbye to older headphones. That I mean, if as long as I can get like a module, like a module or
in
something.
the USB-C consortium or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know what to say about this. I'm not a huge fan. It feels like something that is sort of unnecessary, but I see why they're doing it, because in addition to any thickness concerns with the 3.5mm jack, there are also complexity concerns with putting the amps and the DACs inside the device as we continue to try and make it smaller and consume less power.
Yeah.
So if you can have a optionally battery powered, or also powered off the device external thing.
I don't really want to power stuff off my phone. Like I want more battery in my phone. I don't want to take stuff from it.
And I've heard arguments that I forget what it is exactly about Sennheiser's Orpheus 2 or whatever they call their new $50,000 headphone. But they actually do have some amplification, if I recall correctly, in the headphones, because having it closer to the driver was able to maintain better signal integrity and stuff. It's just I'm not sold on that approach making as much sense for a pair of plastic headphones from the Apple store that's brightly colored as it does
These
for
ones are green.
Yeah, a $50,000 product where that difference in signal integrity is still probably pretty hard to pick up on.
Yeah.
So they're promoting. So here's in a nutshell what's on like a fundamental goals slide. Remove the 3.5mm audio jack from sources. So analog audio, okay, this is actually a little bit more details. This page wasn't loading before. Analog audio is basically a connector replacement, and then they want to promote the move from analog to digital. So volume and shrinking transistors will reduce the cost over time. Users see and value improved digital headset features. Do you value digital headset features?
No.
Okay.
Do you?
The only one that I can really even think of is surround,
Don't care.
which I do not use.
Yep. Me neither. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, there is no reason why you couldn't do that processing on the device, because two speakers is still two speakers. So whether you're going to do your surround processing in the headphones or whether you're going to do it on the device, it actually just really doesn't make much of a difference. It's just where you do that digital processing, because you still have to go to analog at some point if you want to make sound. All right.
Sorry, I'm just trying to deal with something.
Yeah, no, it's fine. A lot of this stuff is
I can talk about Nostalrius while I do this because I don't need to read anything.
Yeah, sure. So this was originally posted on the forum by no one, but we've got the original article here on battle.net. Let's go ahead and pull that up. It is a sticky, and it is a pretty popular sticky, if you know what I mean.
So basically, this is the first time since Blizzard pulled down Nostalrius that they're actually responding.
We should probably explain what Nostalrius is. It's a vanilla WoW server that was community supported, effectively a pirate server, but they were offering a gameplay experience that Blizzard was not willing or necessarily able to offer.
Yeah.
And they were not doing it for commercial gain, which doesn't mean that you can just take someone's IP.
So just in case you didn't see our coverage last week, it's
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Right?
Yeah.
Time.
Exactly. Vanilla WoW is essentially a nickname of sorts for the original version of World of Warcraft, which has been essentially completely obliterated on the current retail version of World of Warcraft in order to make room for their new stuff, which kind of makes sense, but if you look at their subscriber numbers, it kind of backs up the idea that their new stuff sucks. So people want to play their old stuff, and a lot of people did want to actually play it, so they went on this free server, which is a pirate server, which is kind of stealing Blizzard's IP, which is kind of sort of totally, completely not okay. So Blizzard takes it down, and they don't say anything until more or less now. This post goes up. Nostalrius responded to this post saying that, yes, in fact, like it says in this post, they have talked to us, even to the point of saying that they are apparently going to Blizzard HQ and will have an update this weekend. So it does actually sound like something might legitimately be happening, which is good. So a lot of people are kind of stoked about that. Hope it kind of, like, honestly, it sounds like they might actually be releasing their own servers, which from the Nostalrius crew and from everyone that I know, including myself, that played on Nostalrius, is what we want. We super just want Blizzard to do it, because that would be so much better, because one, they get to be greedy and take all of our money, which is great. Take the money for the thing that you made, Blizzard. That's awesome. No one is trying to make it so that you can't take the money for the thing that you built. That is fair. But it's good to have like a proper company running these things so that you know the next time you log in, it's going to be there, because exactly that happened. Tried to log in and it wasn't there. It was sad. So the maybe not so great part of this whole letter was when they went like, yeah, but we've been thinking about this other thing called pristine servers. And what pristine servers are is it's the current version of World of Warcraft, exactly like it is now, except no experience scaling, no like realm transfers, and no bind on account gear, and like a few other things. So like you get to play the new shitty game, but with like maybe slightly less shit. I was trying not to swear.
Wow, it didn't work.
Nope. I went the whole stream until right there.
So in other news, SpaceX plans to send its Dragon spacecraft to Mars.
Using the Falcon Heavy rocket, because they are just so good at names.
That
you
sounds
mentioned earlier.
so awesome. The Falcon Heavy rocket.
They believe that this mission can provide key data to SpaceX as the company develops an overall plan to send humans to Mars. So basically, they want to just do it so they can kind of see what complications and whatnot they may have. Which is cool. That makes sense.
Freaking awesome.
How should we learn how to do the thing? Well, maybe if we do the thing.
Let's just spend all the money
Yeah.
and do all the things, and then we'll know what things about those things don't work.
At the same time, though, this can be definitely seen as an investment, because they just won a military contract for massive amounts of money to put a satellite in space. This is the first time in like a huge period of time that like Boeing and whoever else didn't get that contract.
Right.
So by showing that they're awesome, they're getting these really good contracts from NASA and the military. And if they're like, look, we're already working on Mars and we have all the really good data for getting to Mars, you should probably work with us if you want to get there, or if you want to go further than that or further than orbit. Then that could win them more contracts in the future.
So there are some challenges. The atmosphere on Mars is so thin that it provides little braking capacity. So they plan to use an upgraded spacecraft, a Dragon 2, if you will, powered by 8 Super Draco engines to land using propulsion. More details to be unveiled at the International Astronautical Conference from September 26th to September 30th.
I want to go to that just to say I went.
By the way,
Where were you
is
this
the,
weekend? Oh, the International Astronautical Conference.
This is their propulsive hover test.
So insane.
Ah! 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 Ah!
That's amazing.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I'll just stop now. In fact, I'm gonna call the whole thing now.
Okay, that's fair.
Thank you guys very much for tuning into the WAN show. We will see you again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Ooh.